fight or die. That was the brutal reality of a gladiator's life in ancient Rome. These warriors lived and died for the entertainment of thousands, their every move watched by roaring crowds in the Colosseum. But behind the glamour of the games lay a life of unimaginable hardship. Did you know that some gladiators were volunteers, willingly stepping into the arena for a chance at fame and fortune? Or that most fights didn't end in death, despite the bloody reputation of the games? In this video, we're pulling back the curtain on one of history's most misunderstood professions. From the grueling training camps to the high-stakes battles, and from the fleeting glory to the haunting realities of death, this is the untold story of ancient Roman gladiators. Stay tuned, because the truth might surprise you. Section 1: The origins of gladiators. To understand the life of a gladiator, we first need to understand how they came to be. Gladiatorial combat began as a funeral tradition. Wealthy Romans held these bloody games to honor the dead, believing the spilled blood would appease the gods and help the deceased in the afterlife. Over time, these private rituals transformed into public spectacles. By the height of the Roman Empire, gladiatorial games were a cornerstone of Roman entertainment, attracting tens of thousands of spectators. But who were the people forced to fight in these deadly games? Most gladiators were slaves, prisoners of war, or convicted criminals. Rome's expansion brought a steady supply of captives from conquered territories: Gauls, Thracians, and even Greeks. These captives were sold to gladiator schools, where they were trained to fight for their lives. But there's another side to this story. Some gladiators were free men who volunteered for the arena. Why? For the poor, the promise of food, shelter, and potential wealth was irresistible. Others were thrill-seekers, drawn to the danger and fame. For slaves, it was a rare chance to win freedom, but the cost was high. Many never survived long enough to claim their prize. The origins of the gladiator games reveal a society obsessed with power, violence, and spectacle, where human lives were often just another form of entertainment. Section 2: Life in the ludus. Gladiator schools. Once recruited, gladiators were sent to ludi, or training schools. These schools were a mix of military boot camps and prisons. Run by a lanista or trainer, these facilities were designed to turn ordinary men into killing machines. But it wasn't just about strength, it was about skill and strategy. Training was brutal. Gladiators woke before dawn, starting their day with grueling physical exercises: running, weightlifting, and sparring. They trained with wooden weapons, which were heavier than their real counterparts, to build strength and precision. But it wasn't all physical. Gladiators were taught the art of psychological warfare, learning how to intimidate their opponents and entertain the crowd. They were also assigned specific fighting styles based on their physical attributes. For example, the retiarius fought with a trident and net, relying on speed and agility. The murmillo, on the other hand, was heavily armed and specialized in brute force. Their diet was surprisingly sophisticated. Known as barley men, gladiators ate a high-carb, vegetarian diet to build muscle and sustain energy. Meat was rare, and alcohol was rationed. They were also given calcium supplements to strengthen their bones, a necessity in a profession where fractures were common. Life in the ludus was grueling, but it was also the key to survival. For many, mastering the art of combat was the only way to stay alive. Section 3: The spectacle of the games. On fight day, the stakes couldn't be higher. Gladiators marched into the arena with the eyes of thousands or even tens of thousands fixed on them. The Colosseum, Rome's greatest amphitheater, could hold up to 50,000 spectators, all eager for bloodshed. The games began with smaller events, like wild animal hunts or public executions. These were the warm-ups, designed to excite the crowd before the main event. Then came the gladiators, each introduced with dramatic flair. Contrary to popular belief, not every fight ended in death. Gladiators were expensive to train and maintain, so owners often preferred to keep them alive. Instead, the focus was on skill, drama, and entertainment. Battles were often staged to resemble historical events, complete with costumes and props. But when a gladiator did fall, their fate rested in the hands of the crowd or the emperor. A thumbs up meant mercy, while a thumbs down meant death. For those granted mercy, survival came at a cost. Many suffered horrific injuries that left them scarred for life. The Colosseum was more than an arena, it was a stage where life, death, and spectacle collided. Section 4: The price of glory. Some gladiators achieved fame beyond their wildest dreams. The most successful fighters became celebrities, adored by fans and showered with gifts. Their names were etched into graffiti, and their likenesses appeared on oil lamps, mosaics, and other merchandise. But for every celebrated champion, there were dozens who met tragic ends. Even the most skilled gladiators lived with the constant threat of injury or death. Their barracks were filled with wounded fighters, and medical care was rudimentary at best. For those who survived, the rewards could be immense: freedom, wealth, and a place in Roman history. But fame was fleeting, and even the greatest gladiators knew their careers could end with a single unlucky blow. The price of glory was steep, and for most gladiators it came with a heavy toll. Section 5: The fall of the gladiator games.
The gladiator games dominated Roman entertainment for centuries, but by the 5th century, they began to decline. As Christianity spread, the games were increasingly seen as barbaric. public support dwindled, and emperors began to outlaw them. The Colosseum, once a symbol of Rome's power, fell into disrepair. Today, its ruins stand as a haunting reminder of a society that reveled in blood and spectacle. The fall of the games marked the end of an era, but the stories of gladiators continue to captivate us, offering a glimpse into the violence, courage, and resilience of ancient Rome. The life of a gladiator was a mix of glory and tragedy, courage and cruelty. Their stories remind us of a time when survival itself was the ultimate challenge. Want to uncover more about the lives of ancient Romans? Check out our next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more untold stories from history.